Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing, testing, 1. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yamashah, Bahashem, Wakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of their millstone who ruled well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and a one-third remnant out there listening and doing his word with all faith and sincerity, scattered amongst the nations and the four winds of the earth. You, I say shalom. Lord willing, this street teaching is edifying. I want to start off by, breaking down the names. Yahweh, meaning he exists. The name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, or any other name outside of Yahweh. His name is Yah, meaning he, Hawah, meaning exists or is to be, and his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. His name is Yahweh Shai, not Yeshua or Yeshua or any other name, right? So I know I forget to do that sometimes during my street teaching, so I want to make sure I did that. But yeah, we're gonna go into various topics pretty much. There's a lot of different things we can go into. Recently this week, Trump ended the government shutdown, right? I'm not surprised. Of course we hope that these different psyops and headline events continue and, go for the worst. With certain things, you just like, according to prophecy, you're like, okay, well, this might just be to see how people react to it and test the waters, and that's exactly what it turned out to be on one end. And then on the other end, a lot of policy was pushed, man. A lot of government overhaul happened overnight. For starters, everybody who was once on SNAP has to reapply, right? And it has to be determined if they're now eligible to be back on SNAP. And another thing is that this shutdown was only averted for 7 weeks. Come January 30th, we could very well see the same predicament, right, play out again. In that being the government going into another shutdown, because we know there's a lot of division amongst the ranks of these officials and senators and governors, right, and congressmen and women. So we could be in the same situation come early next year, So don't be discouraged, right? It's still a lot of things that have to take place, okay? The digital ID was passed for Apple, right, which is a major step forward towards that mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip being implemented, because all of these things, that digital ID being put out there is, man, it's one of the key ingredients to linking your bank account with your health, with your the payment system that you use, right? Going cashless, that digital currency, tracking your activities and movements, right? These things are all able to be done with this digital ID that they pushing. And no coincidence, next year they got the World Cup. For the first time ever, it's going to take place in 3 different countries at the same time. Now, do you think that's a coincidence? No. It's not a coincidence at all. All right? Or is it the World Cup? It might be the Olympics. Either the Olympics or the World Cup is taking place in Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. And then at the same time, they're bringing in that digital ID. And I guarantee you, they're gonna use this new, uh, it's not even a new technology. It's just a new way of going about things, right? This new addition to the system. They're gonna use that as a means to propagate the use of it, right? So very, very interesting times we in. And then here it is at the same time, you got niggas backtracking. Now all of a sudden all nations can be saved. We too late in the game for this shit, man. Way too late in the game. We at the end. And then you got guys out here talking about all nations can be saved now. Just epiphany moment, right? It's ridiculous. But the Lord said that evil men, and we finna get it, evil men and seducers shall wax worse, right? You guys don't got it. Here it is, you broke off from one sect to create your own sect, and then broke off the next sect to make another sect. And every time you broke off, you got worse and worse, man. Right? And I'm speaking specifically to those Genesis guys, right? Because they broke off from Sakari, and Sakari, the leader, Alazar, he was once a part of Great Millstone, right? So just look at all the different doctrines being pushed, all the deceit, all the confusion at the height of prophecy, right? So the Lord is doing a lot of sifting still, man. Okay? This is this is 2 Timothy 3:13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Right? So we at the end of this thing, right? But here it is. These doctrines are getting worse and worse, right? You are further backtracking, further backsliding. First it was the lake of fire being somewhere in fucking Africa, but we all know the lake of fire is here in America. The ground that you see you walking on right now, this is the lake of fire, soon to be, man. But it started off with that, and now all nations can be saved. That's sellout talk. You might as well be a Christian, right? And that's the thing with Jake. Jake is always... It's like you lick this bad. Jake isn't truly seeking superiority. Especially a lot of Jakes that know this truth. They don't truly view themselves as supreme, right? They don't want to rule and dominate truly. Really, they want acceptance. All right? They want acceptance, and as time progresses, we see that. And we see it through the popularity of the truth. Right? Because the truth is becoming more and more popular day in and day out. Okay? Now, when you do videos featuring a Hebrew Israelite, Tazariak, or, insert name here, right? Whoever else it may suit, right? Now you get millions of views. So when with this fame, which is what a lot of you guys really wanted, it's exposing you. Okay? It's exposing you. Because your true intentions are starting to ooze out. Right? Prime example, Alizé. He get his no jumper spot or whatever. He finally get a seat with Adam, and now he denounced being an Israelite or affiliated with Israelites, right? Hebrew Israelism, as Vocab Malone would say, right? So you get what you want, and now you end your affiliation. You dudes at Genesis. You get all this popularity, now you these, highly renowned debaters, right? You got a name out there. You built you this decent following. And then now you switch doctrine up to be all inclusive. And that's not because this is my personal opinion. I don't think you guys actually believe that. There's enough scriptures, there's enough breakdowns out there to where that's easily disputed. But I think it helps with branding, right? That's a marketing move because now you can market yourself better. You can reach more. You can earn, you have a higher potential of earning more, right? You niggas are wicked, okay? And we see right through your shit, man. We been know you guys was wicked, man, and you ain't have it, all right? You come with that fake humble shit, but really, you're a fucking a raven and wolf, right? Second Timothy 3 and 13, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. And you're deceived by your own vain thoughts, right? The Lord is deceiving you to think that there is some light at the end of the tunnel for doing what you're doing, right? But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and has been assured of. In your own fucking video of this marvelous, ingenious epiphany of a revelation that all nations can be saved now, you said, we don't really know, I'm not all the way convinced of it. So why the fuck you opening your mouth, man? Shut the fuck up. Right? Why speak on something you're not sure of? Stick to what you know. But you guys, you want to be highly esteemed, man, amongst men, though, right? Like, man. So you go out and you create shit like this, but you forget that every idle word you're going to have to account for, man. And the Lord said if you add or take away to these scriptures, right, and if you do one, you do the other, right, then your name shall be blotted out of the book of life, man. So you niggas ain't part of the elect, okay? Lord will, we are. Because guess what? Guess what we gonna do? We gonna follow in the things that we know to be correct, all right? That we know to be true, okay? Of knowing, Salakia, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. See? So we know who we learn these from. We learn these from holy men, right? Men ordained by Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, right? Because if not, they works when it got them this far, right? I'm speaking on the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, right? Been in the game, doing this thing almost 40 years now, you know? And ain't switched up one bit. Still ain't switched up, right? So that's only supporting that these men, you know, are in the right spirit, right? You should know them by their fruits. There's great millstone camps all over the world, man. Right? And that's because this word is flourishing and it's blossoming and it's true. And men's lives have been changed from hearing it. Right? But you guys want to go and you want to change that for, scripture say that you have itching ears, right? Let me see if I can find that. It's 2 Timothy 4:3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. And you guys are not enduring sound doctrine. All right? But after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. See? You trying to heap masses. You niggas care about numbers. You trying to do numbers. Right? That's what it's about. Here it is. You want to get on IUIC, and rightfully so, right? That's a wicked ass group. But look at what the fuck you doing, man. All nations can be saved. God damn. And you, God, fuck, man. That's crazy, man. What the Lord could do to your mind overnight. It's crazy, man. That is, hey, man. That's something else, man. You got demons on you, bro. To come out with some shit like that, as long as you guys have known the truth, right? You got serious demons on you, okay? Whether you're doing it out of genuine intent or you're doing it to be facetious, right? Either way, you know, the Lord ain't with you, right? Having itching ears. Right? So you want to cater to the people, really. You know better than a pastor. One of those wicked Christian pastors, man, who willing to say and do whatever to get that reaction, right? So they can put more money in the type. Right? So they can pass that plate around one more time because you know, you said, you spoke on that then. You said something there, right? That's the same spirit you niggas in, man. But with an Israelite twist, okay? There's countless scriptures. You could do a whole series on how the Lord is only for Israel and how Israel is only going to be saved, man. The Lord said in Isaiah that he likened them unto spittle, man. Spit. That's how you felt about them, right? When he lists in Psalms 83, which Lord will I'm able to get later, the enemies of Israel, every nation is found under there, man. You know? So I don't know, man. You guys are either emotional or I don't know, man. But I pray Yahweh Shah keep that demon from off of me. You know. Keep me in the right spirit, man. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables. And this is a fable that you guys are turning unto. The idea that everybody can be saved, man. Okay? Again, Jake just wants to be accepted. It's not about, you know, the priority ain't really the nation, it's being accepted by the nations, right? So you guys are still in a very heathenistic state of mind, man. You guys are Americans, right? You in that American state of mind, all inclusive, we're all united under one flag. No, man. That's not how the kingdom of heaven is going to be. These nations are going to be ruled, man. They're going to be in subjection. They're going to be ruled with a rod of iron. Okay? It's not going to be everybody on the same level type shit. Fuck no, man. The ruling class is going to be Yasha Allah. Okay? And the heathens are going to, fall in under that. And Esau's going to be at the bottom. What about Obadiah, man? Did you guys forget about that? What about the book of Obadiah? You guys just, to come up with a doctrine like that is just so unlearned, man. Which shows that the Lord is stripping away at what he gave you, okay? Which is the scary things. The scriptures say, and we know this to be true, it's a terrible thing to fall into the hand of the living power, man. It's a horrible thing. Very, very, it's scary. Okay, because he could do this to anybody. All right? And we would, God forbid he do it to us, man. Do it to me. Do it to any other brothers that's out here sincerely, and sisters, right? Out here sincerely calling on his names and believing and hoping in salvation, right? Because you guys clearly ain't got it. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:11. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they shall believe a lie. And you guys are in strong delusion. And I'm not just talking about you guys in Genesis, but you are what provoked this conversation. But all of you guys, man, John the Baptist ain't a man of the Lord, right? You calling on the name Jesus and God, and the Edomite American that tell you Jesus is the God of this land and shit, They'll tell you that, God is the God of, I heard Nick Fuentes say that. Right? Nick Fuentes. That's the same God. Y'all pray to the same God, man. Which just shows that something's off with that, You calling on the same God as a heathen, right? There are no other nations calling on the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Only the hope for elect are doing that, right? Only Israel is doing that, right? That they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. You guys have pleasure in unrighteousness, and you don't believe the truth, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if the Lord it gets worse from here on out, man. If you'll change who salvation is for, you'll change anything, man. Who knows what the fuck's gonna happen? I'm surprised you guys, honestly, I'm surprised you guys still teach the mark, right? Which is good. It's good that you guys teach the mark of the beast, because that is very pivotal information, right? That is information that is essential. But also knowing who the Lord is coming for is essential as well, man. Okay, you guys ain't got it all, right? The Lord said, eat this roll, not part of it, okay? And that's you guys' problem. The Lord ain't dealing with you. All right, you only got little pieces, right? But you got to have the whole thing, okay? And it starts off with knowing that you have the 100% truth. None of you other guys will go out there and say that you have the 100% truth because you don't truly believe, all right? You believe that the Lord will leave you forsaken like that, man. Why wouldn't he give you the 100% truth? Okay? Why would he just, why would somebody give you directions to a place but then leave out, key parts, right? Like where the last turn at? Why would he, You just supposed to figure out the rest? Nah, man. This 2 Thessalonians 2:12, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth but had pleasure in unrighteousness. You guys love this estate. You like being in this world, man. You niggas are worldly as fuck. You like going in the store and having to buy shit from a heathen, right? An Arab and shit. You know, your landlord, a fucking a Elamite. You like that shit. You like having to be integrated with these fucking heathens, man. You niggas like that shit, man. That's why you would go out and even say some shit like that. Right? Fuck that, man. Segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. I don't want to be around no fucking weird ass heathens, stinky, ashy and shit. They don't take care of themselves. They unhygienic or unhygienic, however you say it. Why the fuck would you want to be around that? Why would you want to be on the chariot with that, man? A goddamn Hamite. Come on, man. What's up with you guys, man? You guys are weird. Right? That's why the Lord got to do away with 2/3 of our people. 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans here in America have to go. All right? And the more time progresses, the more you just see it. You just like, what the fuck, man? Jeez, man. I'm not finna keep talking about you guys, though. It's not even worth it. This is, this is Jude 1:4. For there are certain men crept in unawares who were before of old ordained to this condemnation. A godly man turning the grace of our Lord, of our power, into lasciviousness, and denying the only Lord power and our Lord Yahweh Shai. So you deny Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, right? And how the fuck it crept in unawares? Because it's like, where did you guys even come from? How are you peons? Because you guys are lame, right? And I'm not even saying that just to, you know, throw attacks at you, but I gotta call a spade, man. All right, if you're willing to do what you're doing, right, try to use the truth to catapult you in this world, that's lame, man. You know? Because you were a nobody. So you found something precious, and then now you're trying to capitalize off of it. And achieve the things that you wanted out of the world using the truth. That's whack, right? How you guys even get here? But the Lord said you're ordained to this condemnation, man. That's why you go from camp to camp to camp to camp. And you wax worse and worse and worse and worse. All right? You just can't get it. Because it's not for you to get. You're made to be an example of what not to be. We're hoping to be examples of what to be. We follow Yahweh Shai, right? The ultimate example, okay? So that's who we look after. That's who we inspire to be like, right? And now I'm going to jump down. This is Jude 1 and 11. Woe unto them, for they have gone the way of Cain. And what did Cain do? Cain slew his brother Abel. And this is slandering, or this is slaying your own congregation by putting out some rat poison like that. How many souls are you misguiding from the truth, right? You're corrupters, corrupting whole congregations, man. And all that blood is gonna be on you, man. And ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Corey, right? So like all these different people, right? They all were rebellious and they all went against the Most High. And what was their end? Right? What was their end? Damnation, a horrible end, man. Destruction. Right? Verse 12, these are spots in your feast of charity. When they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. You don't have any fear of the consequences of what you're doing. Okay? Whether it's saying that obvious men of the Lord or not, like John the Baptist, or not giving credit to the names Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, or mentioning that any nation can be saved, right? That other nations are going to be on the chariots with us, right? We were scattered amongst these nations to be a part of them as a punishment, okay? Not for them to be saved with us. Only we're going to be saved, okay? Salvation is for Israel. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts, right? Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, right? Anywhere the wind blow, you niggas go, okay? If it's cool tomorrow to put a hubcap on you, on your head, man, you niggas will do it, right? And then throw a scripture with it to make it seem cool, like it's okay. Because you niggas will go, you go, wherever it is you see there is profit, right? But you're not prophets. Okay, anywhere that you feel you can capitalize and gain, you're gonna do that, right? Because you're not genuine. Trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Twice dead, because you were dead in the world, and you come to the truth, and you died in the truth, man. Okay? So it's just completely undesired. All right, and there's a horrible end coming you guys' way, man. Raging waves of the sea foaming out of their own shame, wandering stars, man, just going from, you know, groping in noonday, as the scriptures say, man, lost, confused, right? To whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever, right? And you ain't gonna come up out of that state until you die. That's why the Lord gotta kill. He gotta kill you niggas, man. He gotta put you down, man. All right? And best believe he's gonna, you know, he hears everything you're saying, and he's hey man, you gonna have to pay the piper. And when he get tired of hearing your bullshit, it's up, you know? And when it's up, it's stuck. So anyway, fuck that. On to the next topic, right? So I asked ChatGPT, how does the digital ID help advance the one world government goals, right? Because we know that is the ultimate goal, okay? One digital currency, a central bank digital currency, right? One government body or governing body, okay? That's why they got these organizations like the United Nations, okay? Because they're all united, you know? These different proxy wars and such, yeah, they are divided, but they are united in the end goal, right? If that makes sense. They fighting for positions in this new world order, okay? But they are indeed united. So AI told me some people believe that digital identification systems could contribute to a one world government. This idea is popular in prophecy discussions, especially around Revelation 13. Woo! How do you not know that the mark of the beast is the RFID chip. How do you not know that by now? You got artificial intelligence knowing that, man. AI knows it, right? That the digital ID is, you know, is helping that notion be established, right? That agenda be pushed, okay? Centralization of control, right? Digital IDs can unify, identify financial information and access to services into one system into one system. If one authority controlled it globally, that authority could theoretically track people, control access to services, restrict travel, monitor transactions, and what this digital ID does, man, having it on your phone, it gives it a whole new, because it'll have, you already get the notification, can this track you, can this app track you across other apps? Okay, so it's like turning your phone into a database of information, which it already is, but it's incorporating your identification with it. So you can no longer cheat the system, right? It's getting harder and harder to cheat the system, okay? So it's cutting corners off, man. It's cutting off those different avenues, man, okay? So when you have to report income for something, or you have to prove something, they're going to be able to go back to that digital ID and blah, no, well, here it says, this, that, and the third, right? I thought you said you only made $1,500 a month, right? According to your digital ID, which tracks you across all these different apps and payment, which is pegged to your wallet. Well, in this one bank account, it said you got $2,000 this month. In this bank account, it said you got $500 this month. Your total is about $3,000 this month, right? So you can no longer circumvent these different institutions set up for payment, right? Whether that's a loan, credit, right? Whether that's applying for EBT or SNAP or any of these other government assistance programs, right? You can no longer do it. Salaki, 1 second. So like I had to get the umbrella. It started raining a little more. So yeah, you can no longer do that. All right, that's why you have to reapply for certain government subsidies now. Okay, and best believe they're gonna incorporate that digital ID in it, man. This is being used to further and trap you, right? So let's get some more from AI. Okay, restrict, control access to services, restrict travel, monitor transaction, because your phone tracks you wherever you go. So now, let's say they don't want you to go past fucking whatever city you in. Let's say you in LA and you live in fucking the Inglewood area, right? You owe on the speeding ticket. Now you can no longer leave Inglewood. Well, if you try to go to fucking Culver City, or if you try to go to Santa Monica, they can cut off your payments, right? They'll have that ability. Well, we registered that you're in Santa Monica, sir, right? So because you aren't supposed to, this is a restricted area to you, right? So you no longer have access to your banking information. How easy is that, right? Okay, it's gonna make you further depend on the digital system, okay? If society becomes dependent on digital authentication for banking, healthcare, travel, voting, communication, right? All these things are gonna be, everything is gonna be linked to your digital footprint, okay? That's what is gonna make integrating into body modifications like a digital implant seems so seamless, because you're gonna already be doing it just on your phone, all right? So when you put it in your chip, when you put it in a chip and then just insert it in, it'll just be, you know, a natural step forward, so to speak, right? Interconnected global standards. Organizations like the UN, WEF, World Bank promote interoperable identification systems. Some people interpret interoperable or unified standards as a single global authority, which is all it is, okay? Because you won't be able to travel from one place to the next without that global identification, which would be that digital ID, right? Because you're gonna be able to cross it. They say your passport's gonna be on it. So they're about to do away with physical passports pretty soon, okay? We're an event away from doing it, all right? All it takes is a black swan for people to be coerced into abandoning it, right? Into transitioning, right? Potential for surveillance. A global digital ID could theoretically enable local tracking, data monitoring, behavior scoring, right? If you watch Black Mirror, they had an episode going into a social credit, which they already have in China. They already have a social credit system in China. They're bringing that here. See, the U.S. is late. The U.S. is late to the party, man. Over there in those Asian countries, right? China, Korea, they already hip on a lot of this stuff. A lot of stuff that we're just now incorporating over here have already been used for years over there, man. So they know exactly how to use it. They know exactly what to do, right? And they're gonna do it. Okay, all of your biggest fears are gonna come true. Okay, there will be no more freedom as you know it, man. Just the illusion of it. You're gonna be in an open air prison, okay, controlled by a digital system. Okay, because on the digital system, everything can be seen. Everything can be referenced. Everything can be tracked. Everything can be traced. Mass surveillance, okay? They already watch you and listen to conversations on your phone, right? If you got a laptop or an iPad or anything, okay, your camera is always active. Okay, they're constantly monitoring you already. How much more when you have to peg your ID or your passport or your or the currency itself is pegged to a digital platform, right? Or your healthcare records, or records, period, in general, right? Everything is gonna flow through a digital platform, which will make you 100% trackable. It will be no more under the table transactions, right? It will be no more hustling under the, cash only. That's the thing of the past now, man. And now they're talking about, oh, we got to get credit card payments and all this shit, right? Even though they never had to charge you to use a credit card. It's not like You know, they don't have to charge. They just do that to do it. You know, just to throw an extra fee of usury on. You know, they charge you to use a card. Well, one of the selling points is that they're gonna come at you with the digital currency, right? And they're gonna say, hey, well, you know, if you use the digital currency, you can circumvent credit card fees, right? Transaction fees, right? You go to a gas station, you got a cash price and then you got a debit credit price, right? So they're gonna play on that. Oh, well, you know, since you got the new global digital currency, the CBDC, right? Central bank digital currency, you no longer have to worry about these extra payments on the payments that you paid, right? They're gonna sell it. They're gonna market it well. Just like with this new proposal of Trump, he wants to do 15-year auto payment loans, right? So you'll never own your fucking car, man. You'll never own it. The interest rate on that is gonna be stupendous. It's gonna be incredible. You're gonna pretty much pay triple the price that you would pay for a vehicle, right? All to save what, $200 a month, right? And let you miss a payment, they repo it or whatever, or they sell your debt to another bank or, you know, or institution, and now you pretty much paid all that for nothing. These 50-year home mortgages, man. 50 years? And I got a quick reference to that, right? So, with the current mortgage, 30-year mortgages, right? 30-year mortgage loans for a house, the interest rate is about 6% typically, right? If the price of the house in today's standard with the 30-year fixed mortgage, if the price of the house is $500,000 with a down payment of 10%, the loan you get is about $450,000 with a 6% interest rate. So you're paying back $2,698 a month, right? So total in interest, you'll be paying about $517,280. But with the 50-year mortgage, with the same exact details, right? $500,000 house, down payment 10%, the loan about $450,000, right? But it's on a 50-year mortgage. The interest rate is probably gonna go up a little longer or a little more, so 6.75, because it's a longer loan. So the interest on longer loans are usually higher, right? So interest rates will be about 6.75, so you'll be paying about $2,619 a month. So you're only saving what, $80? But the total in interest that you will be paying for the house is $1,100,433 just for a fucking house. So you'll never pay at 50 years. You got 50 years to pay $1 million for a fucking house, when the average American lives to about 70. So you're gonna die in debt. As Klaus Schwab said, you shall own nothing and you're gonna be happy, right? So it's already laid out, man. Okay? Matter of fact, quick precept. And I gotta move a little quick right now because it's starting to really rain. It's Daniel 8:25. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. See? So this has been his MO since all the way back in the Antiochus Epiphanes days, man. So he's running the same play on you again through his policy, man. He's putting these different policies that sound good, but in reality, they furthering ensnaring you into this debt-based society to where you'll be in debt your whole fucking life, man. Right? Now, you know, it's still a little wiggle room. It's not much, but it's a little wiggle room, right? A little room. You have hope at least to own a home, right? You don't have to pay $1 million for a $500,000 home. But in the future, the very, very, very near future, because these bills are on the table now, right? Being voted on now, that's gonna change, man. There's a whole restructuring going on right underneath your noses of your government, the institutions, right? And you people have no idea. They're moving so fast that they don't even have time to, go in. And they're outpacing the ability to even make legislation and policy for it, man. But that's a part of the plan, okay? Because by the time you realize what happened, it'll be too late. But guess what? We told you. We told you, all right? And by peace shall destroy many, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand. Because war is a key ingredient to all of this. How, might you ask? How does war contribute to this, right? So I asked AI how digital ID, CBDCs, and UBI and war could interact, right? A major war, especially a large or global conflict, tends to trigger rapid changes in economics, technology, governance, and public policy. See? Because it creates panic. It creates uncertainty. You have to change it because now you're in a wartime footing, right? You have to pass war legislation. The same freedoms that you have to sacrifice for what? The greater good, allegedly, right? You got it, because you may not know who is who. There's so many illegals that came in. Oh, we're at war with fucking Iran now. We don't know who is who. We need everybody to operate on this digital system, right? So we can identify who these terrorists are, right? A few false flags, right? Boom, now everybody believing. In that kind of environment, several systems could converge simply because crisis forces integration, right? Here's how they fit together in a logical chain. War causes economic instability. War typically produces supply chain collapse, famine, high inflation, so nobody's gonna want to use the currency. So the dollar is the last of the currencies that are left, man. Everything else has been priced out. Job losses, right? That's why they're talking about artificial intelligence taking jobs. They're already laying off people in masses, right? Banking disruptions. That's going to be the room for the CBDC to creep on in there. Now no more banking disruptions, right? Displaced populations, the digital ID. We got to identify who you are. Disrupted welfare systems, universal basic income. Not everybody can make it out here in this cruel, cold world. We, the government, we would like to help you, right? Here, take this chip, right? We can feed you. We'll just, put some currency on your chip. You can go to the grocery store in this safe city, all right? Because all the other cities are under siege, right? Due to the Civil War and supply chain collapse. You see how this goes? You see how this is all working, right? See where this is going? Okay? Hopefully this makes sense, man. Because if not, then you'll probably be a victim of what's about to happen. This creates pressure for emergency economic support, rapid identity verification, and new financial tools. Digital ID becomes necessary for aid distribution. During or after war, governments need to verify who is a citizen, who qualifies for assistance, refugees and displaced people, people whose documents were lost. Fraud prevention. A digital ID system becomes the fastest way to confirm identity securely. See? CBDCs simplify rapid payments in crisis. Traditional banking systems often break down in wartime, destroy banks, frozen accounts, currencies, devaluation, unreliable cash supplies. Central bank digital currency allows instant payments, universal access via phone cards or chips, right? Government to person transfers, traceability to prevent fraud, but really just to track and trace you, right? Work even if banks fail. So even if banks fail, this CBDC will be reliable because of the system that it'll be on. It'll be on a blockchain system, right? Which is 100% secure, right? But it's secure, but your freedom is what is given for that security, right? UBI becomes a stabilization tool. In war, post-war environment, governments may issue emergency basic income, ration credits, refugee stipends, reconstruction support, crisis payments, right? It stabilizes the population, prevents riots or social collapse, helps unemployed or displaced people, interject money into rebuilding, reduces administrative burdens, right? But to deliver at scale, government need digital ID plus CBDC. See, all of this is connected, man. All of this is connected. All of this works together, right? So prepare for crisis. The systems merge. When you combine these elements, you get a single structure. Digital ID proves who you are. CBDC wallet receives money. UBI guaranteed payment. Crisis war forces rapid adoption, right? And this is what's going to happen. Matter of fact, this is Revelations 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Right? He knows he only has a certain window of time, a time frame to do all that he needs to do for his system to get off the ground. Right? So he's going to force it. He's going to put everything into Operation Warp Speed. Like Nero said a couple years ago, when it came down to the Jabberwocky, right? Operation Warp Speed. All these things have to go fast. Okay? So that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna bring all these things sudden. It's crazy because the digital ID thing with Apple came out of nowhere, dude. Came out of nowhere. No, like who was even expecting anything like that? Nobody. But he did it. Okay? And he did it for a reason, to prepare for the next stage. Okay? The next step. All right? So Apple being a major corporation like it is, you can expect these other corporations to follow suit. Samsung, okay, Google, right? They're all going to follow after the footsteps of Apple, okay? Let me finish this out. International coordination becomes necessary. If multiple nations are involved in war, refugees, or shared conflict, they may coordinate cross-border digital IDs. Like I said, peep what happens in 2026 when it's either the Olympics or the World Cup is held in 3 different countries. That's going to be nothing but a testing ground for those digital cross-border IDs, man. They're going to utilize them there, man. And they're going to get all the information and data they need, right? To go further, to go into the next step, right? interoperable CBDCs, joint humanitarian UBI programs, shared reconstruction. This creates a global or regional economic integration. This is Psalms 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh Shema Shai and against his anointed. But you guys saying that everybody can be saved, these guys are taking counsel against us and our power, man. So what's up with that? Right? So my phone is on like 10%, so Lord will finish this out. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. See? And that's the attempt. They're trying to be the Most High, man. This is all just a play. That's why it's spoke of in Revelations, right? To worship the beast and his image. In Thessalonians, it says that he make himself to be as a god, right? He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord shall have them in derision, because the Lord's not going to let that go down. Okay, he's going to intervene. He's going to stop all this bullshit in his tracks, right? So, war weakens national sovereignty, making integration easier, right? So this war is going to make all these nations weaker, but they're going to unite together to be under this system, right? After World War I, the League of Nations. After World War II, the IMF, World Bank, and the United Nations. After the Cold War, the EU expansion. So after every war, there was something that came of it, right? Because all wars are bankers' wars, man. War creates an environment where nations accept shared economic rules, shared systems, shared currencies, or payment rails, shared oversight bodies. And that's why we tell you World War III is coming, man. We're in the midst of World War III. But the climax is going to be when those ICBM missiles are shot and fired off mostly to America, okay? But nations all, different nations are going to feel the wrath of Yahweh Shema Shai by those ICBMs and by Yahweh Shai making his return. Putting it all together, okay? So war crisis, need for identification, digital ID. War, banking disruption, need for stable money, CBDC. War, economic collapse, need for support, UBI. War, refugees, alliances, need for coordination, shared systems. So war is upon us. Expect a great war soon, man. The scriptures say a third war cometh quickly, and that's what you should expect. Okay, because that war is gonna bring all of this together, man. Because they're gonna push more and more legislation, they're gonna get everything ready, and then they're gonna bring that war to scare you people and to break down the rest of this system that's already broken, to bring in that new one. Right? So without any, give all praise and the glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rakakodash, Wa, Abad Babal, and DTA. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom.